Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Made in the Moment, Chilling with Ikamalami Unelsiwe Ngumalo, and as always, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Today on Made in the Moment, we're chilling with Noxolo Buthelezi. She's the founder of Open Arms Au Pairs. Noxolo, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Nelly.
Open Arms Au Pairs.
Yes.
Tell us about that. What is it all about?
So Open Arms is my new baby. It's an au pair agency service that's currently based in Gauteng, but obviously we will be expanding to other provinces as well. It started with the gap that I had identified in the childcare industry here in South Africa that I had experienced while I was an au pair abroad, and thought that I should bring that service here to South Africa to assist a lot of our working class families who now no longer have the time to assist their children and give them the specific needs that they require.
When you're comparing your experience abroad, and you spent about 5 years as an au pair, and then you're looking at South Africa, is there a market for au pairs? Because Tina's trial uguthi sinabo sisi, OC, you know, and we call them Mama Neni.
Yeah.
Is there a market?
So out of the 5 years that I was an au pair, only 2 of those years were abroad. The other 3 were actually here in South Africa, which is also how I found out about being an au pair in general. And then I was exposed to doing it abroad. So there's definitely a market for it here in South Africa. I just don't think that people know how affordable the service is. So a lot of people aren't actually exposed to that service. So I am here to bridge that gap.
I want us to go back a bit so that you can take me through your journey in being an au pair. When was that moment when you decided this is where I want to go?
With a lot of people, I'd say, I think that it's something that maybe was building up, but for me, I started in childcare when I was in high school.
Okay.
I volunteered at camps. I volunteered at schools. I did occasional babysitting for people in my complex and families and family friends. So I knew that I was good with kids, but I didn't think I would make a career out of it. Then I got to varsity and things just weren't going so well for me. And I was at that point where I needed a break and I needed something different. That's when I went onto the internet, started looking up opportunities. I was like, what do I actually like? As opposed to what should I be doing? Because that's what I was going with. So I went with what I like, looked up childcare jobs, and then I saw au pairs, and then once I'm starting with the au pairs, then it's like, would you like to au pair abroad? I'm like, yeah.
I really like what you're saying, Noxolo, and I tell you why. A lot of people, when I speak to them about au pair, they'll tell you they're doing it for the money. But you're saying this is something that has been of a journey for you, because even in high school, you could recognize and acknowledge that you have a love for children. So what are these requirements that are needed if I want to be an au pair, and not to say I'm doing it because, when we are comparing South Africa to abroad, there's a lot of money to be made, because money is not everything.
So they are, like industry-based requirements, right? And those are also very specific to the separate agencies as well as families and their needs. So most of them, like basic ones, would be a driver's license, definitely some previous childcare experience. Some of them would want your medical record, not record, but like to have some form of your medical certification, just to make sure that you're safe because you're going to be with their kids. Education is important as well, like maybe some would say matric, others would specify like maybe a bachelor's degree, and even in that, some families would specify that they want someone who's strong in maths or science to specifically assist their children with those specific subjects. But for me, what I always tell people is that the biggest requirement has to be first the love for children. This is going to be, it's not just a job. And I know people go into it thinking it's just going to be a job, go in the morning, get my hours in, leave at the end. But if you're not enjoying it, then you're doing that child and the family a disservice.
Because children can be a lot, trust me, I know.
Especially if they're not your own. You think you don't need to, but you really, really do have that patience. You have to have that patience and that love still as if they were your own,
And I mean, in terms of the families in South Africa, and I'm sure just across the world, safety is everything. Not just for the au pair themselves, but for the families as well. How do you do your background checks?
So I would request families and applying au pairs to get a police clearance. That's part of our background check. Obviously the CV as well, just to see the experience. I also ask the families to give me their past their history of childcare, if they've had any, because you don't want to place someone in a family that isn't pleasant. So if you can have access, I feel like it's fine for the families to want to check the records and the history of the au pairs, but I feel like we should also since we're taking care of the au pairs too, we have to check that on the families as well. And that's not something you can pick up from paperwork or from meeting them or anything of that sort. Like, that is direct. So if I'm going to be leaving my home or even staying in your home to take care of you and your family and your kids, and that's where I'm going to be spending most of my time, it needs to be a comfortable environment. It needs to be a safe environment, and that's what we try to ensure for our au pairs.
How have you found the reception to Open Arms? Have people been having open arms towards open arms?
Oh my goodness. So let me take you before Open Arms, right? Towards the end of last year, like November, I'd stopped working for the family that I was with, and I needed something for December. I just wanted to keep busy. So I put up a post on one of the groups in Facebook. Put up a post saying, this is me, these are the services I provide. I'm looking for, just a holiday job. Like, hit me up if you're interested or if you are looking for someone. I got like over 150 responses.
Sure. When children are on school break, you'd assume that we don't need assistance because we're at home, their cousins are coming. So how do you work around that and make sure that you are still keeping the business going?
What you must remember about December is that as much as it's a school break, it's also a break in corporate. So the parents need a break themselves. Depending, especially on certain ages of kids, some kids require much more attention than others. So to provide that break for families, to provide that break for parents who've been working the whole year long and now have to sit at home and like watch their kids. I'm not saying that parents don't want to watch their kids, but if they don't have to, then I feel like it's something that they're more viable to go for.
And we're in the age of entrepreneurship. A lot of people speak about having multiple income streams. What's your take?
I am all about it. I am all over the place. So before this, outside of my au pair industry, I also have an artist management company.
Yes.
And then also this local brand.
You are sitting next to
my
your
baby.
other baby.
This is my baby, talking about my baby.
Exactly.
I'm all about representing me and what I stand for. And if I feel strong enough about bringing it here, then surely you feel comfortable enough drinking it.
When was this baby born? Tell me about this baby.
So, research started in 2015. So basically, this is alkaline water. This is premium alkaline water. And the research for this started in 2015.
Yes.
Inception 2016, and we got our first batch produced in the year of 2017. It's been kind of slow in terms of orders and stuff, but because of COVID, I had to grab money somewhere else, and what we got was a deal in a Caltex go Soshanguve.
Yes.
Where our water is now in store. So that was a great form of income for me that I was able to add to the financial needs for Open Arms.
Where else can we get our hands on local?
We're actually on Instagram. It's local_Africa. I think that's going to be the easiest to remember, so just check that out. We communicate very, very quickly. So what we also do is we take orders from people. So because a lot of people won't be going to Soshanguve, we would actually deliver these. And we also offer industry branding, so it wouldn't always be local. If you wanted branding maybe for like conferencing or whatever, we would, instead of having our brand on it, have your brand, which has been a big sell actually. So people would order like by 10 cases at a time type of thing, Yeah.
Uthandi mali Noxolo. So let's talk about money. You promised me you're going to tell me the breakdown for if I'm looking for an au pair, how much are you going to customize it for me and how much you're going to charge me, and then how much would a bottle of local cost me?
So I don't want to lie. I don't want to say anything just yet. Because of now the necessary precautions that we need to take for COVID-19 and all the resources that we're going to be using on our end to screen the au pairs and the training and stuff, that's going to be covered by the families. So once I go through it, then I'll know for sure. But it definitely would not be something over 3,000 Rand for the agency fee. And that would be a fee that you pay once off for a year.
My blood pressure just went down because I was like,
that's okay.
All right.
That's what we're trying to do. That's what my service is actually trying to do. Just make sure that you realize it's not so hectic.
It's not so bad.
It really isn't.
And then a bottle of local?
So our current retail price for local in the store that we have it in right now is 7 Rand a bottle. And if you order by the case, then it's 243 Rand.
Thank you so much for being so candid. People never want to talk about money.
They don't. It's very uncomfortable, and that's why it feels like they're gatekeepers, and there's reasons why you can't enter certain industries is because people will not tell you everything about it, and money is always the awkward one. So I always try to have those conversations up front so that, you know, once that's out the way, then you can focus on all the other needs and just like forget about the cash thing.
Nox, what an amazing conversation. I mean, we can go on and on and on when we speak about au paying, because I also love children. I have a child myself.
Oh yeah? How old?
I'm definitely going to need au pair services. She's 5 years old and she's quite a handful.
All right,
Thank
client
you so
number
much
one.
for all of this insight, really appreciate it. But before I let you go, we've got quick fire questions that we want to fire at you. Who's your favorite cartoon character and why?
Bugs Bunny, because he's so wild and he's just not about anybody's business but his own.
In a packet of jelly babies, which is your favorite color?
Oh, jelly babies. I love them all. I like jelly teddies over jelly babies actually. So it would be the purple with the yellow bottoms.
Where would you go if you were invisible?
Yo. Next.
Come.
If I was invisible, I honestly would follow my boyfriend everywhere. No, I'm joking.
Done.